What's up, you guys? This is Minnie.
It's Carlton.
This is Alec.
And Turi.
And this is TheBroDen with a special guest, Turi. What is up, Turi?
Not much. Just got thrown into this, so.
Yep. And Turi is indeed our favorite scone thief's girlfriend. So she is here filling in for the fourth spot because it's a special edition. It's after Easter. How was your guys' Easter? 420 Easter.
Dude, it was pretty good because for Easter what we did is I was at my girlfriend's house, obviously, because I live here.
Mhm.
And we had an Easter egg hunt. And her brother and I are like the same exact way. Like, we take everything so seriously. Like, that pretty much was the Olympics of Easter egg hunts. Like, doing it with the guys the past few years has fine-tuned my senses to turn that in. I'm a Easter egg hunting machine. So there was a couple of them with like $5, maybe $10 bills, and then there was one with $100 bill.
Oh shit!
There's an Easter egg controversy, and I want everybody to settle it. Okay, so we're walking around, and they keep hinting at the big egg. We don't know how much is in the big egg. I was assuming like 20, and then I crack it open because I found it. So what happens is there's a birdhouse in their backyard, and it was both the backyard and the front yard. And so they hid them all around. And he was going to reach in a bird's nest down below. And her dad, he's like 26, by the way. Her dad was like, oh, you better watch out for bird eggs, because birds actually live in the nest down below.
Mhm.
But they,
Like real birds?
Real birds.
Oh, yeah.
Like when we were sitting on the porch later on, we saw them like flying back and forth.
Right.
And he took that as, don't put your hands in any of the nests. But meanwhile, we're all walking around up top.
Wait, so what exactly did he say?
He was like, watch out for eggs.
Like
real eggs. Like,
Because
don't
it's a real...
don't
bird's
smash
nest.
the real eggs. I'm pretty sure it was like a direct quote.
Okay, so it's basically advising, like, be wary of the nest.
Don't, like, high-five it off the post, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you can put your hand in there and rummage around a little bit.
Okay, I feel like this is where the dispute is coming in, so I just wanted to
Yeah,
clarify.
no. And so we're up in the front driveway, and everybody's like on their hands and knees looking inside like exhaust pipes and like opening every car door and opening up like every single crevice, but nobody's looking inside the birdhouse because they heard of that. And then so their mom is like, what reminds you of Easter? And we're like, first off, really funny story. Shelby was like, Jesus. And she's like, Jesus is not the answer. And then she looks and she's like, well, Jesus is the answer, but not what I mean. So she's like, think bunnies. I don't know how that means a bird's nest.
How the fuck does that mean bird's nest?
She's like, think bunnies and flowers, and I don't know, birds. I'm like,
I don't know.
birds. Eggs. And that's like all I can think about, birds and eggs.
This is like your fight or flight sentence. Eggs.
And meanwhile, I'm like a computer, like I'm scanning over every single thing, and finally I'm like, there's a bird's nest. So I jump up, and it's like hanging in between, like, you know when the gutter comes in between the house and there's like that gap. I jump up on like a handrail, and I just stick my hand in because I didn't hear that warning. So I just stuck my hand in, and I was like, woo! And
Did you break any eggs?
no, because they checked before they put the egg in there.
So really, if he didn't say anything, he probably would.
Oh, yeah, no. I know for a fact that John would have found that egg. Because he said that, because it was kind of like, if you jumped up, you couldn't see it because it fell perfectly with the line of the nest because it was so high up.
Mm-hmm.
But if you put your hand in, you could obviously feel what it was. And so he jumped up, saw that it wasn't there, and kept going.
Oh shit.
He didn't.
But at the same time, beforehand, I was like, I dibs the big egg.
So.
I don't think that's how Easter egg works.
Dude, you can dibs anything.
that was the thing that came after. Is afterwards, I was like, hey man, it's all fair because I actually dibsed it. He was like, I dibs all the food. I was like, I respect your dibs, man. I'm not gonna eat any food. I respect another guy's dibs.
I couldn't tell you what I did for Easter.
Casey called. We were sitting in. It was the first time I went and saw Frozen. Casey's sitting next to me, and there was a scene where Elsa.
Is this an Easter story or
no?
Just a
This
random
is a Dibs story.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
And Casey, like, she throws like her Or she takes her. It's when she takes her hair out of the thing, and Casey just leans over and goes, "Dibs." I'm like, oh, okay, sorry. But yeah.
Dude. Dude, Carlton. Fun fact about Carlton: he's dibs to this one girl who still goes to my school for like 2 years now. And then so like
I know who it
two
is.
years ago, I was like, dude,
He's
she's
just the
pretty
person
cute.
that-
He's like, dibs. And ever since then, if I say anything, he's like, dude, you know I still got dibs.
I
right?
still have dibs. I'm
You're
sorry
out
that
of
I've had a
school
girlfriend
and-
for 13 months.
He
but-
has a
Is this
girlfriend,
the
and the
same,
dibs
same
are still in
person
effect.
that like the one time we went to Safeway or Subway and we ran into, but you were not there, and it was. Is it that
Dude,
same
I was
person?
so upset.
That was hilarious.
I went to cheerleading practice for 2 months. Okay, it wasn't that bad. It was a couple of weeks. But and plus I was a Tide guy.
Oh,
Which is
dude.
like our non-mascot mascot, I guess is a
but
good
for
way to
one
put it.
game, right?
It was only for Fishbowl, but Cody and I were the only two, and we were trying to. Well, we weren't the only two.
You
There's a
only
lot
feel
of
good
controversy around that. We were the only two, though.
And that actually stayed on the sidelines.
Mhm.
The other guys just sat down.
Yeah, and it was kind of like I wanted to go because I wanted to learn cheers, which also screwed me because I never won fan of the game.
Even though you, Cody, and I were the only ones fucking yelling when we're losing like 42 to like, what is it, like 7 or 14. And the thing is that was the first game where I played football then, so since I wasn't very good because I suck at sports, I was on the sidelines the whole
It's
game.
really good at video games.
And even if you're
Yeah.
like a sophomore or a junior, you still go to the varsity games and you suit up, right? And so little sophomore Mitch, he's like 5'5", 115 pounds, and he's not getting in, and we're getting our asses kicked. And this is our fucking game. We've had so much hype for it, and
We're also facing a school that's half our size.
yeah, and we're just getting our asses kicked. And then so I'm trying to yell my little heart out, like, come on, you can fucking do it. Don't fucking give up. It's the third quarter.
where they're already down like 35.
Exactly. And I'm fucking yelling my little fucking heart out. And I hear Carlton and Cody, and they're cheering while people are getting pissed off at them for still cheering even though they're losing. And I'm like, I fucking got you. I see you.
Dude, because
I see you.
it's like, for me, and I'm really glad that I got to be the last one, because apparently they're not doing it anymore. Tide
Oh,
guys,
wait, they're not doing it anymore?
Tide guys?
didn't they
Have
not
you
do it
not
this year?
noticed the lack of them this year?
Yeah.
I didn't notice that, to be
But
honest. I didn't go
see,
to,
it's a
to
big
Fishbowl this
thing at
year.
our school, or it was a big thing, and it
Oh
was
my
always
gosh.
kind of controversial. I don't know why, because girls were like, we want to be Tide guys too, and it's like, join fucking cheerleading.
But that's not the point of Tide guys, is it?
The whole point of Tide guys is only seniors could do it, and you spent your whole high school career thinking of the stupidest audition to do in the assembly before.
Ben Backseats was my favorite by far.
Dude.
Of all of them I've
I
seen.
was pretty proud of mine.
And dude, at the assembly when Carlton did his, he was in this really like tight suit with a cape and everything.
It was a small child's Supergirl shirt that I had to lose weight to get into that shirt, and I am really skinny.
And
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
involved in leadership, so I helped do the assembly things. And so Carlton's like, "Hey, dude, you want to help me with my performance?" And I'm like, "Of course." Dude. So he has this like wagon thing, and there's some sturdy ass wheel wagon, not like little.
Like
red
it's
wheel.
like a 4x4 of wagon.
Like you could fucking back hill trek that wagon. And then so I'm like, oh yeah, for sure. So we go through it like once, I think, before, and we're like, all right, I'm gonna whip you across to the other side of the basketball court, and then I'm just gonna run back and let you go. So it's sort of like a loop, and we had it down. One practice, we're good. You can't fuck it up that much.
Because we're going in a circle, like there's nothing that bad.
The music goes for the actual performance. I pull him out. I am in front with like my hands behind my back, fucking like carrying him like I'm a bull and he's like a chariot. And I'm going so fast, and when we take that curve,
We take the first turn.
the first
remember
turn,
that.
and the wagon fucking flips off.
And I have this whole like hype routine planned out, but it didn't factor in the extra 15 seconds that it had after like I fell out of my cart. So I just jump out and I'm like, well, I guess I'm starting. And then
I remember that.
My whole life, everybody had always been, do you know the Carlton dance from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? And I knew that I was going to save it for my tie guy routine.
I have yet to see this because I wasn't there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's pretty
I was
good.
in another country.
I had my Pikachu backpack. That was another thing, is I always had my Pikachu backpack around then. And we had their mascot dress up, and I, like, swung. Their mascot's a Seahawk. I swung and, like, table-topped the Seahawk and just started, like, wailing on it with the Pikachu.
See, I remember Tristan and I going into high school when we saw Ben Backstein, because he was a tie guy my freshman year. We both looked at each other. We're like, let's do that our senior year.
Dude, it was like,
Now they're not.
because it was something that, because since I was in leadership in high school, I saw it like before school even started. So that was the whole fishbowl thing. Was really like the first experience I had in high school, was planning that out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was the Seahawk. I dressed up in the outfit and got wailed on by everybody. That was the first time I took like a really big hit.
Really?
I got laid out by this person. Eleanor was like, "You have a football helmet, right?" Our leadership teacher, she was this like 6-year-old Texan woman. She walks up to me as I'm in the outfit. She's like, "You have a helmet on, right?" I was like, "Should I?" Because I had no idea what was going on. And she was like, "They didn't tell you anything." And they were like, I was like, "No, they wanted me to act surprised." And she just laughed and walked away.
You got
Was that-
fucking
wait.
tackled.
I got laid out. Like, it
was that your freshman year or your?
Yeah, it was my freshman year.
Damn.
That was probably the best year too, because the year after that, everybody was like, "We can't beat last year's," so they had to open it up to the junior year too.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
And it was like, I so would have done it if they let sophomores do it too. And then the next year I was like, fuck yeah, I get to do it. I'm a junior. And then they closed it off because enough seniors wanted to do it.
This is for tides, guys.
Yeah.
Dude, I definitely think tag guys would still be sweet. Like, I know
would
at
love
least
I
to
don't
me.
really see a problem with it, but I think there was some sort of.
It was the
uproar
whole
over it.
girls wanting to not wear clothes and be on the sideline. Like, that was
We
literally
do that
the issue.
anyway.
I don't think that's it.
Well, no, there was a lot of girls in leadership who were like, "It's really unfair that we don't get to do it. Why do they get to dance around with no shirt on the sideline, but we have to be behind the fence?"
Because
Well, I don't think it's the point of like.
I don't know if that's
I'm
like.
saying like I think it's probably something of like
I feel like
how come guys always get to do this but girls
Mhm.
aren't even given the opportunity because cheerleading is 11 months season.
that's a
That's
commitment if you're
That
doing
is-
cheerleading.
And not all of these girls are athletic enough to do cheerleading.
Mhm.
I am obviously not enough to like go topsy turvy around, but like I think I get their argument, but I never had a problem with it.
I think it's
guess.
definitely probably like a matter of like breaking tradition, because it's like when you have the name Tide Guys, it's like you expect it to
Yeah.
be guys.
And our rival school, Peninsula, has the Sea Gals. Like,
The Seagulls are the cheerleaders.
no, they have like a separate group of because they use Sea Gals as like a very universal term. Like, their cheerleading, their dance team was called that before they changed to the Superhawks.
Oh, you know what the fuck we did instead? It was the Super Tides, and that was like just the super fans who like decked out for all the games. So it's
Oh, were
"Be
they,
a
like,
Super Tide,
covered
and it's like
themselves in
just
paint.
go
and-
to the games and deck out. It's that sort of thing, and I like Tide Guys. I didn't see anything wrong with it. I think it's definitely one of those things where like
I
when,
liked them because it was definitely a camaraderie.
yeah, and it's like when you first walk into high school and you're a little 14, 15-year-old, and that's the first day you see those auditions, and holy fuck, high school's awesome.
And it's like,
Yeah.
it's definitely is a chance for the people who aren't really recognized as popular. If they can
Yeah.
come up with a funny enough routine, it can completely change your senior year, because everybody will give you a chance after you become a tag guy.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you brought up cheerleading and how it's an 11-month thing, it got me thinking about sports and like the commitments. You know what sport is crazy?
Rugby?
Like at our school,
Oh.
wrestling. I was talking to a kid who quit wrestling because his body physically couldn't handle it, because he would have to lose weight. He drank all he ate or all he ingested for 2 months straight was just protein shakes, and every day he'd put on 2 trash bags, 2 sweatshirts, and go run 5 miles.
Jesus Christ.
It was a 10. I think it was a 10-mile.
Is this the same kid I was talking to about it?
Probably.
Who would be 2 inches taller?
Yeah,
because of that situation.
it stunted, like, his body
It
was taking
stunted his
such a
growth.
toll as that it stunted his growth.
Jesus.
Christ.
And that was just to lose weight so he could wrestle.
Is it
Like, how is
fucking? Is it worth it?
Well,
How's
it could
that-
also get you a free college, right?
Is he that good though?
He was
He was good. Damn.
Well, if you can't find out if you're that good if you don't put in the dedication.
Damn.
But
But I
keep in
mean-
mind, if he got a free college ride, he'd have to do that
Yeah,
in college.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
That
I
just
couldn't
doesn't
handle
seem
it.
fun.
Like,
to
I
me.
could barely handle wrestling in middle school.
You wrestled in middle school?
Yeah, and I didn't have to, like, they were just like, oh, this is your weight class? Okay, you'll fit in this one.
Did they teach you stuff, or were they just like?
Oh,
you
no, yeah.
two
No, I learned a
battle?
ton of moves.
Did you retain any of the knowledge? Like, do you think if we sparred right now, you could take me out?
Some of it.
Take out half of Carlton.
But I always would try to, like, I always lost. I won once, and it wasn't even with a correct pin. Like, the kid just fell on his back, so I just kind of, like, put my arms down and laid on top of him until the ref was like, yeah, he's pinned.
Wait, is the WWE pin where like you fucking
No,
hook your arm under your leg? Is that a thing?
No.
Dude, I
Okay.
couldn't imagine doing that.
You
That'd
could
be
do,
fucking
like-
ridiculous.
You could
On
do,
someone
like-
who's not knocked out.
But I'd always try to do, like, these crazy moves that we learned that would never work.
Like something
there's, like,
that
a
you would see on
fireman's
YouTube and be
carry.
like, holy shit.
There's a thing called the fireman's carry, and I don't know if that's, like, how many people use it, but it definitely wouldn't have worked if I tried it. But I always tried it. It's just so cool because you're in the top position, and then you drop down, you grab, like an arm around their head and an arm around their legs, and then you just throw them over.
And granted,
I
this
could
isn't
not
like
do
a
that.
stationary person. This is a person who's trying to take you down
Yes,
at the same time.
But I didn't realize that because during practice, we'd always just have one person stand there, and I'd be like, bam, ha! But now it's like, they're trying to do other stuff and get out. I'm like, oh, my back.
Dude,
Here's
yeah.
Ben.
It's sports are a commitment, but if you like it enough, like, that's kind of like, if it's worth it, cool. I'm glad that you can put the commitment in. I definitely, when baseball for me, like, I played baseball for 12 years, but when the commitment started just getting so much, it didn't become fun.
Yeah.
Like, that's different. That's definitely where you draw the line between I'm good and I want to keep doing it, and just doing it as a recreation.
Yeah, most of the people I've talked to about sports that play, like, someone on the football team at our school, he didn't want to do football this year, but he felt such a strong, like,
That's how Blake was.
he had been playing football all throughout his high school career. He didn't want to do it again, though. He wanted to do the play, but he felt such a strong, like, pressure from his family and everyone else on the team that he did it. But then there's another kid who was in the musical this year and quit basketball to do it, and he said it was the best thing. It was the best thing for him because he didn't.
It's hard when you do it like freshman through junior year, or even like freshman sophomore, because it's especially if you come into high school like just doing that, you form such like a family with like the whole group that does it. Like, I'm sure for the musical, I know that you guys are the same way. Like, it would be so hard for you guys to just not do it one year and like not go to rehearsals or anything like that.
Like, even now, all the people I hang out with are from the musicals.
Exactly.
Well,
Like, that's how Turi and I met.
Yeah. Well, I think also, like, doing something ever since you were in high school, ever since you were in middle school or elementary school, however long you've been doing it, it just kind of, like, closes you off. Because, I mean, honestly, if I didn't leave to go be an exchange student, I'd still be doing debate. I wouldn't even have gone back to the musical. But because I did so many, like, weird sports. Like, I swam for years. I played soccer for a year in middle school. Like, I was on stage crew, and then I was in debate, and then I'm, like, now on the stage, and then I decided to join Meisters. So it's just, like, all these different things that connected me to people. Whereas if I just had the same family, I mean, I wouldn't know anything else to even try anything else.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
I think for sure, like, when you do sports, like, it almost, like when you said closes it off, it's like, you almost don't realize that sometimes you're not even, like, being, like, it's not even really a part of you, almost. I think, at least for me, in that case, like, I've been playing football since I was in 3rd grade, so I played from 3rd grade up until sophomore year, and it took me that long to realize, yeah, I love football, but it's just not a passion anymore, and that's not necessarily me. That could be the me that I've been trying to hold on to from 7th grade or 5th grade or whatever it is, but it's like, that long of doing the same thing when you're always constantly growing and changing, like sometimes you don't realize that it's not even necessarily
and it's
new
like
anymore.
I think there's definitely a difference too. A lot of times people don't realize that you can still love like theater and you can still love sports without actually doing it.
Right.
Like I all out love baseball, but I don't play anymore. It just is kind of like I love the game because I love to watch it.
Mhm.
And same with football. Like it's fun to watch. It's a fun activity.
I do think.
Yeah, I'm gonna take it. On the field of sports, I think also when you're younger, you can play multiple sports and get away with it. But as you get older, you have to commit. You have to specialize in something. That's where I think it really kind of.
Yeah, it's like when you hear of people like Russell Wilson, who played both football and baseball in college. It's like
what?
It's like there's no longer. I think once you get up to like legit varsity high school sports, there's no longer seasons. It's like you're working year round to fucking at least like maintain your physical performance or get better.
College football's already starting spring games.
Exactly, dude. That just ended what, February? That's like 2 months. They're not even getting paid for that shit. High schoolers aren't getting paid for that shit. They're doing it because they love it.
They're not getting paid to play football. I mean, some of them are. They're getting like they're students.
Yeah. It's
so like
they're getting scholarships, but
yeah.
that's it. They're working that hard so they can do something they love and so they can pay for college.
I always love, well, I don't really love because it's really sad for me, but college athletes who complain about how they don't get money, how they don't get like paid actual cash, like they just get scholarships. But the people who get caught getting paid, like Reggie Bush, they get caught because they're driving like a new Corvette. And it's like, how can you afford that unless you're getting paid off? And so it's like, sure, I think that they should somehow, I think schools should feed them. Like,
wasn't there that guy from Alabama who said something like that?
It's UConn.
UConn.
And we talked about this before, so people who listened before know. He was like, we're the Hungry Huskies. I go to bed starving every night.
And it shouldn't be that way. Like, if you just brought in so much fucking revenue for the fucking the College of UConn, and you can't even.
It's like, I guarantee you so many people made up their minds about school. Like, I know it's a bad way to say this about sports, but sports is such a driving force for schools because it's like somebody who's looking at like Connecticut State and then UConn, and then UConn goes and wins the national championship in basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you telling me that isn't kind of more of a drive to go to? Because it seems like a fun place because everybody's partying because they won the national championship.
And it's camaraderie when you're with a big group that's winning. Or like when you at least win one game, like it's like, so much fun.
The Seahawks,
like take the Seahawks,
Like, why would you not want to be?
What, like 600,000 people showed up to the Seahawks parade. I'm not gonna lie, I was not a huge Seahawks fan before this season.
And that's another thing that annoys me is people who are real fans shouldn't knock people that start liking teams when they start to win. They should acknowledge that they're a fan.
Yeah. I think what's not fair is when people are fans of people and then they start doing poorly and then they knock them. Because I'm just like, okay, you can be like, yeah, I like them, but they're not doing well. But I just think that's awfully bad. But I don't think like jumping on the bandwagon is like.
Macklemore said it perfectly. He was like, okay, how many people, because we went to the Macklemore concert in Key Arena, he was like, how many people here have been a fan of mine since my first mixtape? And a stupid amount of people clapped. Like, obviously not that many people were.
Yeah, but I mean, it is Seattle. So.
It is Seattle, but at the same time, not enough to fill Key Arena. Like, everybody in Key Arena was
that's
just.
True.
Like,
And it was pretty much, except for Mitch and, like, one other guy at the end of our row, who were, like, people who weren't really cheering. And he's like, okay, how many people have been a fan of mine for 2 days? And hardly anybody clapped. And he's like, well, to me, it doesn't mean a fucking thing because you're here right now. And that's all that matters.
That's a good
Shout out to Macklemore because that changed my opinion because I always used to be one of those kind of people
where it's like when someone jumps on the bandwagon, it's like, oh yeah, of course you like the fucking Yankees.
Yeah,
exactly. That's just such a hipster attitude.
Yeah,
but it's just it's just like what's so bad about liking something that other people like? Don't you just want to like share?
And who are you to judge
them?
Who are you to condescend their opinion? I was a fan too.
You know what? It's the whole Dibs thing. It's like Dibs. I get to like this first.
You're cheering for the same.
At the same time, it's sometimes it's a cool thing. Like there are some bands that I liked before they got big, and when people bring them up, I like to say it. I don't mean it with a condescending attitude.
think everybody has that sort of thing where they're
Mhm.
like, well, I thought of this idea.
I mean, like
Every-
Mitch with the
but-
bandanas. There was
Mhm.
so many people at school who wear bandanas now.
Yeah.
And I got it from Mitch. Because I got the bandana from Brian, but then I was like, ooh, Mitch wears it like this. I'm going to do that.
Exactly.
And now there's like 1,000 people.
And you
Mitch
know,
started it.
and you know why I don't get pissed off at people? Because I'm just happy that
Everyone's
there's
wearing
fucking
bandanas.
bandanas everywhere. Because I think
Well,
bandanas
actually,
are the shit.
now we can't remember.
That's
They
some
rewrote the
bullshit.
dress code.
Wait.
No
The-
one stopped me though, dude. We were sitting right in front of that vice principal with our bandanas. She didn't say a thing.
Literally, we had to reinforce the dress code, quote, because now that the weather is getting to be 60 degrees and partly
not allowed
sunny in
to wear-
Washington, they were like, all right, you can't wear fucking like shirts that show your
Neon
boobs.
vests and short shorts.
And one of the
But that's
things
illegal.
one of the
No.
things that was in the school rules is bandanas, and I am a notorious bandana wearer. And
Yes.
as Alex said,
Pretty much everybody in the BroTalk has a specialty: blue, orange, yellow, pink, leopard, zebra print.
yeah,
Hashtag
E?
excuse me,
yeah,
when
but they
I
say
get
no
mine.
bandanas. But
when you're
fuck
part
that.
of the DAE, the
Fuck
hashtag
that.
DAE.
It's kind of like, sure, I get it if like you're wearing a blue or a red one.
Right.
Like if you're
You
trying
wear
to
blue every day.
if you're trying to act like you're a Crip, but look at our fucking headbands. Like,
I
I will
was-
post a picture during this of our headband so you could see.
You guys,
I was wearing a Canada one.
and
And the only trouble I had was another kid at our school was wearing an American flag one, and he comes up to me joking and was like, "Dude, you want to start something, huh?"
Dude, but
Huh?
at the same
how
time, I
Lois
could
is.
definitely see somebody who wears like a blue or a red one or some other gang
Yeah.
one, and they're like, "How come he gets to wear it but I don't?" And then, but at the same time, we're joking around about how
know.
we're a gang and how we're
Hashtag
hashtag DAE.
We have no rival gang yet.
You know what's
Yeah, because we mow
Okay.
everybody down.
Speaking of bandanas, I went and I toured UW for like freshman admitted day or whatever. Okay, so they have this club on school and it's zombies versus human. And originally I saw this guy wandering around with a Nerf gun. Didn't think anything of it. College campus, whatever. and
Speaking of
but they have orange bandanas, I think, are the zombies, and the guys with like green ones and they wear them around their arm are the humans. And so they have these wars. Like it's one of the biggest clubs at UW, which is like 40,000 people, right?
Holy shit.
And you'll see them like in hordes waiting outside of lecture halls, like waiting for the
That
kids.
sounds
Because
so
kids will stay
awesome.
inside for hours to like avoid these.
Dude,
people.
yeah, we have Nerf wars here at
Yeah.
Good Harbor, which is, it's pretty much like that. Where okay,
No,
so
but
what?
I know somebody who's got their car totaled.
Yeah,
Oh, shit.
there was one kid last
From
year
Nerf
who
wars.
was charged with reckless driving because he totally just plowed through the back.
Well,
of
yeah,
the
I was the head of Nerf
But
wars
that
last
kid
year.
is kind of an idiot.
He totally deserved
Still,
it.
he's still
Hearing
is
this,
an idiot.
it's a hard thing to judge too because, and shout out to whoever's doing this here. I think it's Alex and
Scanlon,
Scanlon.
Yeah.
It's so hard
Green
because
part.
everybody's like,
No.
I didn't get hit, and then it's like, it's a 2-ounce piece of foam. Like, how are you gonna feel it through a
Right.
couple layers?
And the thing is then it's like I was like the spectator to all this last year because I've been good friends with Carlton for a while, so I was sitting there while Cameron and Carlton are collecting all this money, and then they have to sort through, okay, who got shot out of all the fucking senior class who's attending, like doing this whole activity thing, and it goes on. For
How
like,
do you? Yeah, it goes on for a while.
Okay,
month
so the
or
way
two.
that we
It
did
pretty
it
much goes to
is
like-
we had a Google Doc sheet, and you have teams of 3 to 6. I'm just saying last year's rules.
Is
So
it-
if you're doing
should I
it this
share the
year,
Google Docs with everybody?
yeah,
That's
we
good.
made it public, and then every single day we would share the link. And then what we'd have to do is we'd have to have people tell us when they killed someone, and then we'd have to call the person that they said that they killed. 90% of the time, they're like, didn't happen. And so we'd have to compile stories, and
Ugh.
we said it,
Sounds
but
like a
it
lot of
was,
work.
yeah, exactly. We said that it wasn't off, like we didn't bias it at all, but it's totally fucking biased. Like if you're telling me that somebody who I've known since kindergarten and I've known as a liar since kindergarten calls me and tells me that they shot somebody, but somebody else who is a really good person says the exact opposite, like it's such a toss-up, and especially it's the fact that it's the middle of what, April right now?
mhm.
Yeah.
You're wearing at least 2 or 3 layers every day. You don't feel a Nerf dart hit your back.
My sister was shot. She lasted pretty long. Like there were some nights where like her car would get stuck by another opposing team, and then like another team that was hunting somebody. But they'd get stuck, and then like our neighbors would come out screaming like, "We have children! Get out of here!" And that would save it. But my sister was at a Death Cab for Cutie concert. She came home, and the people have been waiting in the rain for like 2 hours and shot her. And she's like, "I'm not even mad. You waited for
like that's
2
the thing
hours
is
in the rain."
people get fucking dedicated
because
and sneaky with
it's around
It's a
$2,000 on the because everybody pays.
It's a lot of money.
Everybody.
That's 1/3 of my out-of-pocket tuition next year.
Yeah, exactly. Damn. It's everybody. Everybody pays $10 to enter, and then that just goes into the pot. And the way that sometimes it's done is like first will get like 60%, second will get 30, and then third place will get 10. But the way we did it,
sorry, that Nerf Wars is 1/3 my out-of-pocket tuition next year.
Can you imagine having that tacked on?
Oh.
But it was kind of sad how it ended last year because it ended the last day of senior year, and our whole plan was we were hoping that it would go to where there were multiple teams left, and we were going to have everybody meet up at a park, and we were just going to say, okay, everybody put your Nerf guns in the center, and this is Hunger Games.
Oh, that would be so cool.
Because we talked kind of loosely to the person who ran a park, and he was like, yeah, if you guys come here at 2, kids usually don't show up until like 3 or 4 when they're out of elementary school. So you guys
that's sweet.
And so,
what park was it? The kids gig?
No, it was
like Seymour or something like that?
It was the one that's kind of in the woods. I always forget the name. I think it was Seymour.
Yeah.
But damn, that's a good idea because then it's like it's fair and it gets it done.
Yeah, exactly.
Because after a while, I saw it.
It always drags.
It would go
it's
from
like
I don't feel like it's popular at all this year because I didn't.
Well,
it hasn't started.
The thing is,
it's not publicized.
And the way they're doing it this
but
year is instead of giving everybody a sheet, they made people print it off from Facebook, but they didn't send everybody the link, and so it's kind of gotten mixed up. It's supposed to start on Tuesday.
Yeah,
it's supposed to start right after spring.
And that's a problem. Is like if you're not Facebook friends with them, then you wouldn't know. And
yeah, it was definitely Cameron and I were definitely.
They announced it like on our prom page, and I'm like, how many people? I don't check the prom page.
More people checked More people posted senior stuff in our Nerf Wars page than the actual senior page because everybody was on the Nerf Wars page. That's what we had last year. It was something that it's supposed to be somebody who's really well known and the president. Like that's pretty much year in year out.
That makes sense. I feel
who
like
does
Alex and Scanlon.
Exactly, and I don't want to sound condescending and being like condescending.
That's a really condescending word to correct.
Yeah. It's like I don't want to sound like I think that I'm all that, but it's like I know a lot of people, so it was really easy for me to get the word out.
Right.
And it's.
I didn't even hear about it, and then somebody told me they're like, yeah, we have to have our teams in by Monday, and I was like, what? Like,
and it was something that it was like.
Well,
then again, you don't spend a lot of time in high school.
There are so many kids in my class that are in Running Start this year with the community college system.
Next year.
So like, it's
everyone's doing Running Start except for Mitch.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous because one, if you don't have an activity that connects you back to school, you really don't have anything. But I don't get half the announcements that the school has.
Yeah, exactly, and it's.
I mean, I wouldn't be able to do it because, like, also I think they allow it on the campus there.
They do, or they
do.
Oh, they do.
Which is scary because it's just like you're walking to class.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't know how many people. Well,
I'm sure campus security would be like can't happen, but they wouldn't be like.
We also said that you couldn't skip school to do it, so a lot of people who were hunting the teams that went to TCC couldn't hunt them because they were stuck in school.
You just have to look sketched out.
Well, then again, there are after-hours classes, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Not many kids do the after.
I'm not.
I've heard one person.
I know.
I don't think I took one class in the evening. It was Tuesday, Thursday at the Gig Harbor campus from 4 to 6, which was fine.
That's after hours?
4 to 6.
4 to 6, yeah.
Okay.
That
means after school. Yeah, but
it's.
Natasha had a class from 4 to something, right? What was I gonna say? I know she did during the diary.
Oh, it was also like going into senior year. It was gonna be me and another person who I didn't really care for. I'm not gonna say that we didn't get along. It was just kind of like. We would always butt heads on certain issues.
This is the person that it actually was.
That was going to do it with me. Because going into it, I think he was activities coordinator of our school. It was pretty much just because he was really well known. And that made it really easy. but it got to a point where if you're doing it and if you're actually playing and you're proctating, that makes it really, really sketch. And I didn't ever want to play, first off, because I don't drive, and so that would make it really unfun really quick. And I live with Cody, and I didn't want to be on a team with Cody. And so that...
How come you didn't want to be on a team with Cody?
Because I wanted to be with a different team.
Dude, you totally could have just killed Cody right away, though.
But we couldn't because our... well, I guess it wouldn't have been. Our house was considered nerf-free after Cody got shot because I was proctating. And if people had to come over to talk, we would say, okay, it's nerf-free from... Because there were a couple points... There was one point where somebody jumped on the back of somebody else's moving car, climbed over, like, because it was an SUV, so it had that little step up. So they climbed over while it was moving and shot him through the window. So we had to have those people...
awesome!
We couldn't let him do it.
Illegal.
It's so illegal. That's why we couldn't.
But could you imagine being the person to do that and how awesome that would feel?
He got cut out 3 different times. 3 different times he killed the same exact person in a really badass way. Like there was one time he camped out in the back of his SUV, waited for him to come, and we have a naked rule where if you get completely naked, you can't get shot. It's kind of like you're putting yourself out there, so you deserve some kind of reward. So he gets into his car, puts on his boxers, and his team name was O'Doyle. So he pops up, says O'Doyle rules, motherfucker, and then shoots him in the back of the head. But it's something that the other person who ran it and me strongly disagree. I say it should have counted.
It definitely should.
The person who got shot.
But it's in the person's SUV.
He told him where the hide key was months before because they were best friends. So he told them months before because one time he had to get into his car to get his binder or something, and he didn't want to come out of his house to get it for him. And so they were like, his car was technically locked. And if your private property is locked, it was a really gray area.
What about the other way? How did we kill him the other way? The third way. There's the first one where he like climbed on his car, shot him through the window.
He parked in the middle of the street. They were driving down a road. He put his car in park, popped out, ran up to his car, shot him, got back in his car, and drove away.
That didn't count?
No! It's so illegal to just park in the middle of the street.
Dude, that happened in... It was like a street, like...
Yeah, and it was like right after school.
Oh, shit, that's a street. Oh, Jesus.
Because, I mean, neighborhoods make
I'm pretty sure that was the same person. Either that or it was a completely different person on, like, the same team.
He got screwed over so much. Did he get some sort of award for just
No, I'm pretty
creativity?
sure. I'm pretty sure by the third one, because the last one was the one where he climbed on the car. Mm-hmm. And we were like, okay, you're done for the round. Mm-hmm. You need to... And so... we just we were like, okay, you need to take a break. You need to calm the F down. But at the same time, he was really cool with both of us. He's been one of our best friends since 6th grade, so it was really easy to talk to him. He's a funny guy. Like, it was hard to say no because he sounded so... It was like you and I when we got into it about Russia last week. He would just start yelling and using hand gestures, and he just sounded so convincing because of that. He was like, what do you mean? I got on his car and he happened to start driving.
And then you're like, wow, that's so awesome. But you broke the law and he almost died.
We'll probably wrap this one up unless you guys have something else to talk about. The stupidest part of it is Cody. The other person who was running it with me wanted him to get kicked out because we have a rule where if you're reckless and you wreck a car, you're done. Like, no questions asked. Mm-hmm. Cody was running from the person who was trying to shoot him. He tripped on the sidewalk and then dented his car.
His own car?
No, the other person's car. The person who was chasing him.
With his body?
Yeah, with his body.
Wait, Cody dented the car?
Cody dented.
Jesus Christ!
So he was hunting a guy. Let's just call the guy Steve. Mm-hmm. So he was So Steve was walking into his house. He shot him, missed, and then he turned around because if the person who you're hunting shoots you, you're stunned for 24 hours. So he started running away because he didn't want to get stunned, tripped on like the lip of where his driveway met the sidewalk, dented like right above his tire. And it's not like it was a little ding. Like, it was straight up a dent. There must have been a dent there earlier, and he just happened to hit the same
I feel
spot.
kind of bad because it's not like you were recklessly driving.
Exactly.
And, like,
He tripped and dented somebody's car.
It was something that we just kind of kept going.
Mean, it is his.
He dented the car, and it was kind of like we kept going back and forth. I would be like, he wasn't driving. He tripped. Anybody can trip.
Yeah, but I feel like if you're just, you've got to be fair to the rules.
I feel like that
Reckless
hurt.
tripping. Is
I mean,
part
that's-
of the rule?
That was the thing. Is it just started sounding so ridiculous? It was like reckless tripping.
Is it with cars or is it with people? I think
And it was kind of it came to the point to where we were like, okay, you're stunned for the rest of the round, meaning that he could still get killed, but he couldn't hunt.
Right.
Mhm.
And because we couldn't agree on it, and we were both really biased at the time because the other guy, he loves
it's
Cody
just
to
such
death.
a lame thing to like
Yeah.
get kicked out for.
He-
It's like you're a klutz, so
Yeah, the other guy really liked Cody, and obviously he's my best friend. Like, but we just had such differing opinions because he was like, it was like the second day too, and he was like, we can't seem biased. We need to make an example, and I was like, we can't. He fucking tripped. You know what, YouTube? Leave your opinions. Do you think we should have kicked him out? Do you think the stun for 3 days was worth it?
How many people are
Also, do you
actually going
think-
to comment on this?
Yeah.
Yeah, we.
All you people that have actually listened to the whole.
To the whole, we're at like 40 minutes by now.
Also,
That's not
leave
bad.
your comments on Dibs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it did.
Do you think it was?
Do you think Dibs count only on certain things? 'Cause
Does it
I
count
think
on
certain
girls?
things-
Does dibs on girls count?
I don't think that's really a thing.
Is it a
does it
thing
count on
between
females?
guys?
Explain
That's
why
what
not?
I think.
Exactly. Explain it, YouTube.
I feel
Tell
like if
us.
you're calling dibs on a girl, it's never actually gonna happen.
Maybe.
Mr. Turi.
Maybe Mr. Carlton.
I don't know. Casey might get with Elsa.
And the funny part about it is I never even think about her unless Mitch brings up the Dibs. Like,
Yeah.
I'm really happy.
This is what I mean. Like, I don't think it's real.
Yeah.
I'm
I
kind
just
of-
say it to spite him.
Hey, maybe one day it'll be a thing. Alrighty, this is Minnie,
This is C-Flow.
This is Alec.
This is Turi.
and this has been the BroDen. Make sure you give us a like us on Facebook. We are the BroDen. Share our videos. That would be lovely.
Subscribe. That'd be a cool
Subscribe
thing.
too. That would be awesome.
I forgot there was a thing on YouTube.
And have a kick-ass day.